Hello everybody, I'd like to introduce you to my new video game. This is Scoundrel Squirrels, and my name is Tim Bradrick. In Scoundrel Squirrels, you are a squirrel. Be a scoundrel, accept the challenge, and dominate in your dapper derby. In Scoundrel Squirrels, you roleplay a daring squirrel adventurer. You can explore the world, causing mayhem, taking on the challenge of wild adventures. When the chaos is done, relax to your tree-high home to enjoy your winnings and try out new outfits to show off in your next adventure. Scoundrel Squirrels is a casual role-playing game. It's currently available on Android. It is designed for casual players who enjoy quick and silly gameplay. According to the Bartle's game types, Scoundrel Squirrels would appeal to achievers and explorers. It's not intended to appeal to killers. For this capstone project, the game includes the ability for players to dress their squirrels in a variety of clothing options. This includes a store and a prize system where they can earn additional clothing. The game also has an explorable world as well as a race where the players can compete against the clock. For the future, I am planning on adding multiplayer features. This would include the ability to play the adventures with friends and place wagers on the winners. There are several additional adventures I have planned, as well as more mini-games, clothing options, and an in-app store. Here at the opening screen we have 4 buttons. I'm going to demonstrate the settings button first. Here we have the different options for the game. We can turn the music on and off. We can determine whether the tutorial messages are on and off, or we could reset all of the tutorial messages. And then we can also determine the position of the jump button. Quickly, I'm going to show the credits. There are the resources that I accessed outside of the ones that I created myself. And now I'm going to go into the Create button, and immediately we see some of the tutorials. The messages, it kind of explains what you can do when you create a squirrel, and in all of the tutorials we have an X button to close out the message, as well as a next button if the information takes up more than one screen, and in this particular one it does. And then there's a back button. I'm just going to go ahead and exit out, and in the this section we're naming the squirrel that we are creating. So I'm just going to go and name it Bobby. Okay, and then tapping the next button, and then we can choose whether we want a red squirrel or a gray squirrel. I'm going to go and select a red one, and then here it explains what the ability points are. We have 4 ability points: run, jump, climb, and health. And then it explains what the different abilities are for. And I'm just going to go and decrease climb. So I tap on the minus next to climb, and then use that extra point to increase run. And then I'm back to 0 points remaining. Then we can tap next. Then it explains that you can go and choose clothing for the squirrel. You can choose one for each of its slots: the head, the body, and the feet. And then it explains that there's some additional clothing that you can get in the rest of the game. You select a red hat, green shirt, and blue sneakers, and then click next. It gives you a summary of what you've done so far. Then you can confirm. And then we're into the play area of the game. There's more tutorials. Each of these white question mark buttons will give you a little tutorial message. I will turn off the tutorial messages again. Going into the I button is the inventory and information screen. And we have a series of buttons on the right side and the inventory of the squirrel in the center. I'm going to go into settings and then turn off the messages, and there we see the same settings as we saw before. Then go back into the inventory, and we see the items that are being carried by the squirrel. We have 2 apples and a banana, plus some additional buttons that help manage the inventory. We have a bests button, The best is for the electrical line adventure, and the best completion time is 59 minutes 59 seconds. And then there's also a button anticipating future expansion for multiplayer. Currently it doesn't do anything, but when I update the game, there will be an option for that. And then this is the neighborhood of the squirrel. The squirrel is controlled by the player. The player taps a location on the screen and then moves the finger in the direction that you want to move based on the original tap location. So for example, if you move the finger to the right, the squirrel moves to the right, and the further away from the original location, the faster the squirrel will move. Some of the characters that are in the game, right there we heard the squawking of the brown bird. The brown bird is the aggressive bird that chases the squirrel until the squirrel runs into the trees or is hit by the brown bird. And here we go. Here's a blackbird. And the blackbird basically wanders around and pecking the ground. The squirrel can get close to it, and if the blackbird is hit twice by the squirrel, it will fly away. If the blackbird is randomly wanders into a tree or is pushed into a tree by the squirrel, it will drop an acorn. And then up here is a bluebird. In the neighborhood area, the bluebirds come in flocks, and there's the rest of the flock. The bluebirds can push the squirrel into dangerous areas. In the adventure area, it's possible to jump on top of the bluebird, and they will drop acorns, which I'll demonstrate later. There are occasional squirrel NPCs identifying different sections of the game that the squirrel can explore. Right now, this is the wise one. This adventure is not yet opened. It's a planned expansion. And let's see here. We can go down here. Whoop, there's the blackbird. There's the barker. He will show you the adventure area, and then there's another planned adventure, and then finally there's the vendor. Here we have the store. We see the amount of acorns that the squirrel has, 209. I'm going to open up the inventory and sell some things so we have a little bit more money. Going to sell the apples, and let's remove the hat and the shirt and sell those and see what we can buy. And we have a lot of yellow items there. Let's see, the raincoat is too expensive. There's an orange jacket we can purchase. And see if we have any additional items. There's the things that we had just sold. And going up to the orange jacket, we can tap the orange jacket and see it in the thought bubble on the right side. See what it looks like. That looks good. So we want to purchase it. So we have to tap the buy button, and then we tap it and we purchase it. As you see, we have some hearts up above and the acorn total up above to the right. The hearts identify the health of the squirrel. And let's bump into the blackbird, and then one more, and then the squirrel will be knocked out. And notice that the acorns are 256, just got knocked out by the brown bird, and it's 154. As soon as the squirrel is knocked out, it's sent back home, and there is a healing effect inside of the home. We'll go up into the doorway of that house, and here's the adventure area. There's 2 additional movement modes that we have activated here. We can still tap and move the squirrel, but we can also move down trees or up trees. And then there's areas you can explore. So as an example, then we can also jump, and we'll get back up in the branches. And then we tap the jump button and we'll see the squirrel jump. Now, we have a green flag. The green flag will start the race, and then we can move around. Here's the blue birds. See if we can get jumping on one of them. Well, they got away from us. And then there's an electrical hazard. If we hit the electrical hazard, it'll shock us. And we'll try to jump over it. And I think there's a banana here. There we go. And poison apple and an acorn. And we'll just try to maneuver through the adventure here. And a big bluebird. He's a little bit easier to jump on. There we go. He just dropped an acorn there. And it's a little bit more valuable. And here's the end of the race. You jump over. And by ending the race, we get a prize box.